This thing is wild. About 3 months ago, I was talking with BMW's designers about the look of the new M3 and M4, and they admitted that this design will not please everyone. Actually, the idea behind this look is to create a shock, to announce that the BMW M3 has finally evolved. Because as you probably know, BMWs haven't really changed in over 2 decades. So this is not pleasing everyone. But what's interesting about this new massive grille, which looks like a set of 2 gigantic nostrils, is that when I published this car on social media, when it was lended to me for the first time, half of the comments loved it and the other half hated it. The line was drawn right in the middle. So that means that BMW did something right. It's definitely shocking and it gets people talking. And at the end of the day, that's what counts. I am going to say that it looks a lot better in person than on video or on photo. In this paint job, it is absolutely superb. Now this looks like gray, but in the sun, you see a nice tint of bronze coming out. It's absolutely gorgeous. And with the orange interior, this vehicle is both subtle, but also quite dynamic looking. I have nothing to say about the styling, but what's important is how it drives. So come with me, we'll go for a ride, and we're going to enjoy the all-new BMW M3 for what it's worth. There has indeed been a lot of talk around the design of the new BMW M3, but what you need to know is that the lineup has never been this diversified and, more importantly, attractive for enthusiasts like you and me. For instance, the model you see here, the regular M3 if you will, only comes with a 6-speed manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. How's that for satisfying enthusiasts? But if you happen to be in the automatic club, there's also an M3 competition with even more horsepower, 503 to be exact. It comes only with all-wheel drive and a 8-speed automatic gearbox. You can really choose your poison with the M3. And it's the same story with the M4, which is now a completely different model, but essentially a coupe version of this car. The M4 also comes in convertible, and there will soon be an M3 CS, an even wilder, more powerful, and more extreme version of the M3. So I gotta say, BMW really got its act together recently in terms of driving dynamics and just offering genuinely cool and front vehicles. It just got its mojo back. To begin with, the manual transmission. The BMW M3 now only comes in this configuration. It's not like before where it came automatic and you had to dig deep in the options to find the stick shift. Now it can only be had this way, and there's not even an automatic available, at least not in the standard M3. You need to upgrade to the competition model if you want the 8-speed automatic. So this is based on the new 3 Series, which is BMW's new CLAR architecture, the same as the 3 Series, the Z4, the Supra, and much of its SUVs. It's rear-wheel drive only, and the engine under the hood is taken out of the X3M, so it's not the same one as an M340i. Yes, it's a 3-liter straight 6 engine, but it's twin turbocharged instead of having only one turbocharger. A lot of its internals and its cooling were also re-engineered to provide more power, but also to be tunable. If you look at the way this engine was put together, it's obvious that BMW understands that M3 owners are going to modify this engine to 500 or even 600 horsepower. As it sits, it develops 473 horsepower, which is, in my opinion, very underrated because it feels and sounds a lot more powerful. Now, like in all modern BMW M cars, I have the 2 red buttons here on the steering wheel. I explained those in my M5 and my M8 competition reviews. What this basically does allows me to tailor the car to my liking. In my case, M1, I left traction control on. M2, I removed traction control and I activated the rev match feature. In the M3, the rev match actually works rather well, so I preferred it was best to leave it on. So here, let's see what's what. Of course, the back slips out. Now the transmission is a bit rubbery, and the clutch is springy, but oh my god, the power delivery from that straight six is absolutely astonishing. The sound is good, but it's not fantastic. It's not too loud, however. I can adjust this from a button here next to my transmission. Oof. God, this thing will eat up roads in no time. All right, oh my God. The chassis rigidity, the responsiveness, and the precision of BMW's current offerings is absolutely mind-blowing. This thing will leave a lot of more powerful vehicles in the dust. Third gear, look at this, look at the power. At any RPM, and it revs. Fourth gear, it just keeps on going. It just keeps on piling on the gears, piling on the speeds, and in no time you have lost your driver's license. Now what you just saw was in the M3's conventional mode. I just activated the exhaust. Let's see what it's like in my M2 setting. Now this is traction control off, and what's also interesting is that in the menu, once you turn off traction control, you can start playing with how the rear differential reacts, which will give you pretty fantastic power slides. I'm on public roads right now, so I can't try that, but I am going to try to get the rear to kick out just a bit to see what's what. All right, so first, okay, lots of wheel spin now, and the back is wiggling. It's wiggling, but it's also very controllable. Oh God, you can really power shift this thing. And I'm also impressed to see there's like no rev hang. Considering that this is an electronic throttle, they did quite a good job of eliminating rev hang. What about emissions? Who cares about emissions? This is an M3. You want performance. That's what you want. I'm gonna try to hit a corner over there. So I'm gonna try to get a bit of drift action here, coming out the corner. All right, put it in second gear. This thing is wild, but it's just so precise. It just makes you want to drive it. This is a driver's car in every respect. BMW, congratulations, you are back at being the king of driver's cars, but not just at the top. You're just spanking everyone. You just showed Mercedes, Audi, Porsche that there's still space for a car like this. There's still room. There's still room for a manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, just a lot of power, and a highly civilized sedan when you think about it. I know the grille, the front end, that's all people are going to talk about, but it's going to grow on us because the machine itself is fantastic. It deserves the M logo on its trunk. Let's see here if I can get the rear to go out. Oh God. The gear shifts. I mean, rubbery shifter, but when those gears go in, they go in. Now allow me to tell you about the features in the all-new BMW M3, and you're probably noticing this orange interior. I am just going crazy. I like this a lot. But you don't need to take orange, obviously, if orange isn't your fancy. What's cool about the new M3 is you can really customize the cabin to your liking. But colors, I mean, BMW is finally putting colors in its cabins, because in the past, the BMW was known for having very Spartan cabins, very black or very gray. But now I've got this bright orange. It feels like I'm wearing some kind of a workout suit. I love it. So the features, well, again, like I said, like other M cars, I have the iconic red buttons right here, and everything is controllable via the excellent iDrive infotainment system. It's all the same kind of setup as I had in the M5 or the M8. However, there's one area where I would like to bring your attention. When I go in the M menu where I configure my M settings, when I remove traction control, when I put it to off, I have another menu right here. It's called M Traction Control, and that is pretty cool. If you look at the logo, it's a tiny little car that's drifting, and there's a plus and a minus sign on the side. There aren't a lot of cars on the market right now that come with a feature that allows you to control how the car will drift. Now, obviously, I'm on public roads. I'm not on a racetrack right now. BMW did not allow me to go on a track with this car, and I only have it for a few days. So I'm gonna have to go back later on and try this feature myself. But I've had some colleagues who I'm not going to mention, but are on YouTube and also from Canada. You probably know them as Yuri and Jacob, but I didn't tell you that. They tested it, and they did a pretty good job of showing what it can do. Now, and there's so much sensibility. I can go from off, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I stop? 10? No, maybe 8? I think I'll go with 6 as a level of drifting. That's a good drift level. No, how about 5? Yeah, I'll go with 5. No, 7. I don't care what you have to say about the grille on this car, because once you strap yourself inside those enormous orange seats, you'll understand. Once you depress the clutch and activate that manual transmission and understand what it feels like to drive nearly 500 horsepower to the rear wheels from a German car like this one, you're not going to care what it looks like. This is a fantastic machine from a technical standpoint. I'm going to go even further by saying that BMW is now at the top of its game. It's back at making driver's cars, building the machines that we want to drive. It's for the driver, it's not for people who are looking at it. And you know what? I find that the grille looks better on the M3 than the M4. And that's just personal opinion. Anyway, BMW will tell you, well, most people who are complaining about the grille can't even afford this car. That's an interesting one. I'm going to finish this review by saying that the person behind the camera right now follows me driving many different types of machine. He's seen me in AMG GTRs and Maseratis and Aston Martins, and he said while we were filming the M3 that the BMWs are the vehicles that have impressed him the most this year. And that says a lot, especially from somebody who doesn't really know anything about cars. It means that BMW is building the machines that we want to look at, that we want to drive, and more importantly, that we want to own.